I'm especially glad that our distinguished guest accepted our invitation because I believe that your perspectives will bring concrete and valuable insight to today's discussion. One more time, my name is Patrícia Kordiaková and I will be hosting or moderating today's panel or discussions. So one more time, let me introduce our guest, Stanica Andjić, the ambassador of Montenegro to Slovakia. Welcome here. Ambassador of Albania to Slovakia, Arten Hanku. And Martin Klus, analyst and a former state secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the Slovak Republic. Welcome here. So let's start with our questions. Our time is limited, but I hope we can open such as many important issues. We already heard some opening remarks from Ambassador Hanku. Thank you for that. So we will start with Montenegro. Ambassador Andjić, your country is really a hot candidate to joining the EU. President Jakub Milatović said that he would like to see Montenegro in European Union by 2028. So how realistic is this timeline from your perspective? And what are the key steps that still needs to be completed?
Thank you. Is this working? Should I just, you can switch. First of all, thank you. Thank you for hosting us here. This is a timely meeting to organize because at the moment, as you already mentioned, we are in our final phase of approaching to our goal to become the EU member state. And as President Milatović said, we all want to see Montenegro within the EU by 2028. And yes, I think it's realistic. Yes, there is a lot of work ahead of us. Once we finalize the technical job, which means that we are closing the chapters, as you know, I will just briefly tell you also what is the state of play when it comes to Montenegro. We opened all negotiating chapters. We provisionally closed 16 so far. All others are internally ready to be closed, which means that with this pace we can close all the chapters by the end of this year. It doesn't mean that we become the member state by the end of this year. It means that we do our internal reforms as expected to be done in this phase of the process. But internal reforms, they don't stop by closing the chapters. They continue while you have this process in between. And also, becoming EU member state means that we still have to continue working on this. Realistic? Yes, it is. I cannot say now in which months of the year it's, and it actually doesn't matter. What it matters is that if there is a job done on the side of Montenegro, and if there is also political will and job done on the other side, it's feasible to have this goal succeeded by the end of, or by the end of 28.
Probably the same question to Ambassador of Albania. Where does Albania stand today, and what are maybe the key challenges for your country and the path towards the EU? And I saw on your presentation that you underlined of regional cooperation, so maybe an accent on that.
Yes, as I mentioned also during my presentation, the period 2027 to close all the chapters that we opened, 35 of them, as I told during my presentation, is achievable. And then it's the time from 27 to 2030 for the political decision of every EU member country. And of course, as Stanica mentioned, the reforms are in ongoing process. So the reforms will be not stopped after the accession into the European Union, and these reforms, especially in justice and in the rule of law, it's still in ongoing process and will be again in the process for, I suppose, not only for our two countries, but for all the region. And as I thought, the key of this accession is the fulfillment of all objectives that are also has been written in this rules, in these reforms towards the enlargement of the European Union, not only for us, as I mentioned, but also for the region. And regional cooperation is a key, of course, that will accelerate the process of accession for all the region. And we have good examples for that within the region with our free trade areas agreements, our cooperation in terms of economy, of commerce, of culture, etc. So regional cooperation has been, will be, is and will be a key accelerator also for the future of the region.
The last country we as the European Union accepted was Croatia in 2013, and this marks the longest pause in the past 52 years. So, Mr. Klus, why is it so difficult to integrate someone into the EU?
So, first and foremost, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here and see so many young people here. It's wonderful. Enlargement always been very, very important topic for me in parliamentary diplomacy, and then also as a state secretary, which represents Slovakia in General Affairs Council. I don't remember a single General Affairs Council that we didn't mention enlargement. That's an important point. But on the other hand, I felt a lack of political will to discuss it in a real way. So we all declare, let's enlarge European Union in one moment. But there was a lack of political momentum for that, and I believe the time has come, luckily. And I'm really hopeful that Montenegro will be 28 and 28. I'm really hoping for this moment, and that will be, as you said, 15 long years after the last enlargement. And I'm very happy that Albania will be next in a row. As we can see, you are working very, very hard. Congratulations for that. And I still believe it could be even sooner than 2030. Let's not forget our history. Slovakia started our negotiation processes in 1999. I remember that very clearly because I was intern at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the time. And we get to the signature of accession treaty and agreement in 2022, so only 3 years. So why not to have Albania even sooner in European Union if there will be a political will? And the political will has come, and it's a kind of a paradox. It has come because of Ukraine and Moldova this time. So there is finally political will of big actors like France, Germany, and some others to discuss enlargement in a real way. And I hope it will be not only Ukraine and Moldova, but also Western Balkan countries. And I'm very happy Slovakia was always a very vocal country in this case, and huge supporters of Western Balkan countries to European Union. And let's hope it will not be only Albania and Montenegro soon, but I'm really looking forward when we finally manage enlargement also of North Macedonia. We know how complicated the history of this country was the last 3 decades. And then we have also Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, and Serbia. And if anybody is asking me, for instance, what should be the solution of Kosovo-Serbian conflict, somehow conflict, I believe it's an enlargement of the European Union of both countries as soon as it could.
In discussion about European integration, it's always about how the countries benefit from the European Union. But let's switch this. What can Montenegro bring into the European Union if it becomes a member?
Thank you for these questions. I like it actually because someone would say it's a small country comparing to European Union. What Montenegro can bring? Montenegro is NATO member state, which means that already it's part of the Western, let's say, umbrella, respecting the same values, because becoming the member state of NATO means that you already have to fulfill some criteria, that you have to prove yourself to be reliable partner, resilient to threats, that you have internal structure that can resist actually to any kind of foreign interference. So first point that I would bring would be stability. The south of Europe, actually Western Balkans is south of Europe. We are not some distant region, we are part of Europe. We are not yet part of European Union as a structure, but we are Europeans and we are bringing stability, or if we are not considered the right way, if some third parties would like to bring instability to Europe, they would probably start from the foreign borders of that region. So Montenegro can bring stability, can bring also safety in a way. Montenegro was like being part of the region. We also lived through the instabilities that were going on in 90s, and Montenegro was never part of any like conflict, but still we as a country and multi-ethnic country, because there are many different people in Montenegro, we remained stable through all these very turbulent times. So we already established the model, so we are import this model also to Europe, and it's kind of the same values that we already cherish in Montenegro. Those are the values that the European Union is based upon. And although being a very small, let's say, economic market, but still, it's a way for European interests to be expanded economically and in a sense of investment. And also Montenegro is already using euro. It's something that we always point as like advantage. We are now part of SEPA system. We already are integrated in a quite amount in European market. So yes, although comparing to the size of European Union, Montenegro seems small, but I think that the value that Montenegro can bring, and what is important, what my distinguished colleague also before said, the region. Becoming a member of European Union now, when we are fulfilling our goals, fulfilling our tasks, it's a strong message to our neighbors that the goals are achievable, that yes, if we come first, merit-based approach, but there is a strong message from the European Union side that the process is credible, that the policy is credible, and that all others can expect the same when they fulfill the same conditions.
What can Albania bring to the European Union if it becomes a member?
Yeah, except the security that mentioned Stanica. Of course, we are small economies, small market for the European Union, but anyway, we are going to bring to the Union the alignment of our economy and especially our policy, the alignment with the policy of European Union and economy also. But at the same time, we are going to bring also optimism to the Union, because based to the polls in Albania, more than 90% of the population are pro-accession to the European Union. And that means that they love European Union. And as also Edi Rama says once, that based to this polls and having in consideration that love within the Union is not so evident, actually, we are going to bring also love to the Union. And so, as I told you, we are going to bring some very good values that we have as countries, our tradition, our culture, and especially our good relationship with each other, which is very important also for the Union itself.
Mr. Klus, we had the summit in Tibet, and what is the key takeaway from this summit? Do the leaders now have something more concrete in their hands, or is just promises?
so far just promises, as I said, but now very concrete and realistic promises. This is very important, and I'm very grateful that this is starting to happen finally in the last part of the third decade of this millennium. And the most important is that we all need to understand that the integration of Western Balkan countries, plus of course Moldova and Ukraine, that's not a charity. That's a win-win situation for all of us. If we will understand this, then also the support of our politicians all around the European Union will be completely different. And this is what we also have to deal with our homeworks here in our territories, because whenever I'm speaking with my countrymates, everybody's asking, will this mean that all of these countries will take away our Eurofonds and this will not belong to us anymore? And it's very tough to answer these questions because so far our vision of European Union and enlargement of the European Union is very much focused on finances. But we are not speaking about the fundamental goal on which European Union has been established. That's a peace and stability. And we need a peace in Western Balkans. We all remember 90s. We all remember how important it is to have a peaceful and stable countries in our neighborhood, because there is also other case where there is a war in our neighborhood, and we understand that now. So this is why we need soon and very strong enlargement of the European Union, which will last for next generations in peaceful and harmony, and which will bring us new economic opportunities. That was Tivat takeaway as far as I understand it.
You mentioned Ukraine. Many people, also leaders in Western Balkans, are concerned that the Ukraine is being given a political priority. Do you share these concerns, or do you understand this concern that Brussels might prioritize Ukraine, which is supporting in its defense against Russian aggression?
Ukraine for sure bring different reality to Europe. Like we are now living in the world where we have war in our neighborhood. Yes, Ukraine actually brought up some topics, maybe put it in the first plan, and maybe they were neglected a bit. So it's like we cannot say that the war is a positive thing, but actualizing the topic of Ukraine also in a way made the enlargement policy a hot topic again. I don't think that we should be concerned about it, because enlargement policy should be a merit-based process. We see it like this, we advocate for this, we see ourselves as a next EU member state based actually on this merit-based process. So also, although around Ukraine there are a lot of narratives and it's completely different situation, but we see that this process with Ukraine should also be based on the same principles. So I don't think that it can in a way badly affect our own path. Yeah.
Mr. Ambassador, maybe your point of view on this topic, but I will add one more question, because there is also another, on the other hand, we see Russian influence in the region, or Russia or China trying to have influence in Balkans. So how this particular thing affects the whole accession process?
Yes, coming to Ukraine, I think yes, Ukraine must, and we are agreed that must be part of European Union, and we have nothing against Ukraine. We support Ukraine, and of course the merit-based process must be followed. But we have to not forget that there are people that are under the very special situation. They are under the war. They are since more than 2 years or 3 years already under the aggression of Russian Federation. And I think that based on this, we have to give them hope that the process of the integration of Ukraine will bring to them a bit more tranquility and more hope. And for that reason, Albania supports very much the accession and the enlargement with Ukraine and with Moldova. Respecting the question regarding Russia's influence, yeah, of course, it's very evident the Russian influence in the region. It was come also by the history, near history and far history, that Russians influenced a lot the Western Balkan countries, and they are still very influential in some countries like Serbia, like Bosnia-Herzegovina, and also some political circles, even in Montenegro. And I think that we have to be very careful for this influence, because our principle of our countries and the principle of the Union must be aligned together, and we have only this direction, European Union, and not any other country, not we have to avoid the influence of Russia and of China in economic point of view, which is also very present in the Balkans.
Could have a larger EU have a stronger geopolitical advantage against Russia and China? I mean, if the Albania, for example, and Montenegro join the EU, will the EU stronger against Russia?
Well, if we take a look on a map, then it's already clear that we are missing something, and it's Western Balkan, which is not part of the European Union so far. And of course, Russians know that. Not only Russians, let's speak about Turkey, let's speak about China, let's speak about other actors. And of course, the influence on these countries is quite strong, as we could see many times last at least 1 decade. And this is why we need soon enlargement of the European Union, because what we are losing in these countries, except for Albania probably, is the public support of enlargement of the European Union, because it takes so long. I already mentioned North Macedonia. This country changed even the constitution in the name of the country, and they are still not starting because of plenty of reasons. So this is the problem, and we need to deal with this problem as soon as it gets, otherwise these actors will be even more vocal, even more aggressive, and this is the last we need to have a, let's call it, hole in our map of the European Union. And this is why I believe European Union, as I already mentioned, need to deal with their own homeworks in this case, and we can't prolong this process anymore.
So maybe additional question, is needed something from European Union to reform some reforms before accepting new members?
Well, luckily we have already a Lisbon Treaty, which is allowing us to make an enlargement without any further processes if it comes to the acquis communautaire. And this is why I believe we don't need to make huge changes, but we need to adapt ourselves also on that. We will have a little more commissioners. Well, frankly speaking, I'm not sure what these guys will do there, as long as we already have quite a lot of commissioners. We will have more members of European Parliament, we will have more voices in European Council and Council of the European Union, and this is why we need to discuss seriously what will be the decision-making process of the European Union. I'm probably one of the few in this country who believe that we can't stay on contemporary decision-making processes, because this creates a lot of tension and a lot of troubles. And we have to discuss qualified majority as soon as it gets.
We spoke about Montenegro being a really hot candidate and comparing to other Western Balkan countries. So what is Montenegro doing better than the others, or neighboring states?
I think it's not about what is doing better, it's more like we are having different situations. Like every country is a case for itself. We had a different path towards the EU, we have a different internal situation, we have different relations to others, and we have different dynamics. So what we did good, we are doing our reforms. Also our path was not, like the process itself, as Mr. Klus said, it was very long, it's almost 2 decades, it's too long for any country to wait. That can also affect the public opinion. In case of Montenegro, still public opinion is above 80% in favor of EU, but prolongation of the process can also lead to like losing hope and losing support. So what we were doing good, especially recently, we are boosting our reform agenda, we are doing our homework, we have good relations with our neighbors, we don't have open issues, and all those issues that we are discussing with our neighbors are easily, or if not easily, but they are solvable in bilateral communication. That would be my answer to your question. So it's not like being better or less good, it's more about the context, but we are, all of us, we have as a foreign policy goal in the region is to boost good relations with our neighbors. And one country becoming a member state before others does not mean that the others will lag behind, as my distinguished colleague Ambassador of Albania said. Nobody should be left behind, and having one country inside would, I think that's realistic, that it would actually give positive impact on others, in that they would do their reform maybe better or faster, because they would have hope. They would know that the process is real and that at the end of the tunnel there is a light. So, yeah.
Albania is also a hot candidate to join in EU, but if it's not gonna happen until 2030, will Albania lack in frustration or stagnation, because some Western Balkan countries applied for EU membership in the first decade of this century, and some representatives already expressed frustration that the process is too slow. So is probably EU too strict to Western Balkan countries?
Yes, it's right what you said regarding the longer period that we have waiting to have the after the candidacy country to have the opening of the negotiations, and but let's say in some terms, fortunately, it came this war, this aggression of Russia against Ukraine that brought again into the focus the enlargement, and this is the good side of this terrible war that is happening. And Albania's people are optimistic, as I mentioned before, by the polls, but even by the actual situation that we have in terms of reform. We are doing very good and very effective reform in terms of justice. Our reform in terms of justice is unique. So we have had first the vetting process for all the judges, all the justice class, and after that it has been some changes in the justice institutions, which are now very unique, very special. We have now the spatial structure against the corruption, and some spatial trial against the corruptions that are giving again results. Actually, the war against the corruptions gives results into the political class. All the Albanian politicians are now not sure anymore in terms of corruption. We have already in the jail ex-presidents, ex-ministers, ex-mayor of Tirana, which shows to the, let's say, to the opinion of the country, to the opinion of the people, and at the same time to the European Union, to the institutions, that Albania is taking very seriously the reforms and the reform to the justice, let's say, to the justice fields, or fields, the war against corruption. It's one key for every country which wants to join European Union and European Union's values.
You open a really important or really interesting topic related with trust issues, with corruptions and organized crime, even though both of your countries are doing better and you are making progress. Mr. Klus, how can the Western Balkan countries gain the trust of EU or European institutions?
Well, I was in your television, by the way, to speak about the corruption in Ukraine. And it's very tough to judge Ukraine corruption from the country like Slovakia. Whenever we are speaking about the corruption in candidate countries, let's first and foremost take a look to the mirror. And when you spoke about a couple of former ministers, mayors, and whoever in a jail, I'm becoming a bit jealous, frankly speaking, in this case, because we don't have such an experience in Slovakia, although we have a lot of evidence. But we rather change our laws in this case. But I don't want to get to this topic. First and foremost, we need to show our citizens in European Union that these countries are ready for membership. And I understand somehow our French, German, Spanish friends and colleagues that they are somehow hesitating with enlargement of the European Union because they can see that, for instance, the reform of justice in Hungary, Poland, Slovakia, and some other countries were maybe not that successful as they believed 22 years ago. So this is why it's important that we have countries which will encourage the others to do the other reforms and encourage us, members of the European Union, to take a look. These guys are doing better than us. So this is also a good competition we are having inside and a bit still outside of the European Union. So I believe in these best practices and good policies these countries are doing, and we have to adapt also to this situation.
The main question of today's discussion is if there will be 29 of us by the end of the decade. So what do you think? Will there be 29 of us?
Maybe more, who knows? Yeah, I mean, I really believe that this hard work will pay off for all of us, for some sooner, for some later, but at the end of the day, it should pay off. We are not doing this only to become members of the EU. We are doing this also for ourselves, because we want our citizens to live better. We are doing reforms to make our systems better. So aligning with the EU does not mean, yes, we just do this to make a mark in some box and then, yes, we are a member state. We want to see our citizens live better, and that's why I believe there is going to be 29 of us and more.
Hanku?
Yes, I think also will be 29 countries and hopefully more, but 29 for sure. And this will give, as I told you, not only hope to our populations, but at the same time will give a motivation for the future, because the future of the whole region belongs to the European Union. And as soon as we will be member, as good is for our population, for our country.
Mr. Klus, you already said that you believe that it's possible, right?
I believe so, and I believe it's possible even sooner than 2030. And first and foremost, I'm very hopeful that there will be a peace in Ukraine soon, so they can speed up with their integration process, because this is one of the most important part of the enlargement for us in Slovakia. Not only security-wise, but also if it comes to next opportunities. I'm always using the example of Niederösterreich and Burgenland, which were among the poorest region of the European Union before we entered European Union. And when Ukraine and Western Balkan countries will join European Union, I believe also us in Central Eastern Europe should be much richer countries because of the European Union, because of four freedoms we will have all together. That's why I believe it's a win-win strategy, and we need to understand it together.
Thank you. But before we close, we can take some questions from the audience. Are there any questions here? Our colleagues can provide you with microphone. Okay, we have a question here.
Thank you very much. My name is Katarina Surnikova. Hello, Martin. I'm glad to see you again after some years. I am working for UNIDO on supporting Albania in metrology, so I'm very happy to listen to this discussion. And I have a question on both of you. What are the biggest challenges that you have to face in the accession process internally in the countries? And maybe even how can European Union or maybe some other partners support you to face and to mitigate the problems that you have?
Should I start? Okay. This kind of process, it's kind of natural to have challenges. Is it?
No,
What did I do?
just put it closer to your mouth so they can hear you. Is it better?
Right? But from what I see, what is challenging for us, we are a small country by numbers, which means that we have small administration, and in sense of tasks that we have to fulfill, we have to do the same thing that all other countries of the European Union has done before, and that they have to do like the other candidates would need to do. So there is no, let's say, different status or rating or levels for small and big countries when it comes to fulfilling tasks. And when you don't have a big administration, it's a big burden to those people that are working on it. Also, closing of some chapters requires substantial reforms. Some of them requires also that all the part of the society are involved, and that is challenging to have everybody on board. And also funds. Sometimes for some chapters to close and some reforms to conduct, you need a lot of money. Of course, European Union will help through their funds, but still, it's an expensive reform agenda. But as I said before, it's doable, and we are looking forward to come to the end of this road.
I think that in terms of politics and security, we are at the same line with the European Union, and here are not challenges for our country. I think will be a challenge our economy. So our economies, how our economies will be able to contribute also to the economy of the European Union. And in these terms, for example, agriculture as a field. Our farmers needs, of course, more support, more funds by the union, which is previewed also during the ongoing process. But I think economy, will be the biggest challenge for our countries, our economy. How to align our economy also to the main lines of European Union, and to make it competitive also.
Do we have any other questions? Okay.
Hello, thank you. My name is Attila Derer. I'm a university student. So we talked about Montenegro and Albania, but my question is further towards the Western Balkans region, to Your Excellencies or Mr. Klus himself. How do you think, or do you think it is really realistic that in the near future, let's say in the 10 or 15 years, the Balkans will be united in the European Union? Is this just an optimistic view? Because as we see the political situations in Serbia or the blockade in North Macedonia that's been going on for long, is it really realistic that the Balkans would ever be united? Thank you.
It's a good question. I think that we have to have hope for this, but actually there are such big problems between some countries in the region. I am not speaking for Albania and Montenegro, but I'm speaking for Serbia, North Macedonia and Kosovo. So coming to the Kosovo issue, I think that Kosovo must have also, we must give to the Kosovo people hope for the European Union. But this is based to the dialogue between Kosovo and Serbia, and having a stopping dialogue actually it's not a good and optimistic let's say fact. And as soon as Serbia and Kosovo will have a dialogue between them, and we will have the solvation of the problems between them, as good is for the region, as good is for the whole European Union, because actually are some 5 countries which are not recognizing Kosovo, and some of them, or most of them, are saying that based to the recognition of Serbia, they will proceed further with the recognition of Kosovo. So it's very important dialogue, and hopefully both parties will be seated in the table of negotiations, and will be a solution for the problems between them. So I took just those 2 countries, but as I mentioned, is also North Macedonia, which has problems with bilateral problems with Bulgaria, some problems with Albanian community actually within within Macedonia. They are not respecting some let's say decisions that were signed by both parties since 2001 by the Ohrid Agreement regarding the Albanian population that lives in Macedonia, which is a state founding community, not just a minority within Macedonia. And recently has been some demonstrations of the students there, which are asking for some very principled theories, which is the Albanian language to be used as a let's say official language for exams, for the language which is speaking into the institution of North Macedonia, etc. So, and also are some problems, as I mentioned, with Bulgaria, between North Macedonia and Bulgaria. And for that reason, I hope that will be as soon as possible a solution of such of problems between these countries in order to have a unique West Balkan in European Union the next decade.
Would other guests like to add something to this topic?
Yeah, maybe I
Unless
would
I have
just,
issues.
because you asked both of us, and I would look into this from more optimistic angle, like if the question is if it's realistic to have the whole region in the EU in 10-15 years, it can be done. It's not impossible. All the countries of the region have, as distinguished ambassador said, has different situation, has different internal challenges, also relations that burden each other, and it's a very complex region with complex history. But in sense of possibility, it's doable, because as I'm going back to the first point that I made, if we have one country or 2 countries inside the EU, it might be also a good sign for the others to do internal reforms better, to talk to each other, to let's say boost their dialogue. So yeah, I'm very optimistic. I'm not saying in 5 years, I'm not saying in 1 year, but it's possible to have the full region within the EU in some foreseeable future, I would say.
Mr. Klus, some closing thoughts?
Well, there are perfect experts in this room on this topic. For instance, Mr. Kandel, our former ambassador in Montenegro, or Mr. Stano, currently the leader of European Commission here in Slovakia. So I'm sure you can use informal part of this meeting to discuss with them, but I'm somehow optimistic as well. But I already mentioned qualified majority. That will be probably inevitable too, which will allow us for such an enlargement in 10 to 15 years. And when we all mention Serbia, Kosovo, I would even mention more Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm not sure how aware you are about the situation down there in this country, and I believe European future of Bosnia and Herzegovina is probably the only solution which could keep this country together and which will bring to the citizens there better and sustainable future.
We have maybe time for one last question, if there's any. Please speak up.
I am Angelica, I am from Together EU. I would like to ask you, you have mentioned that you are going to enrich the European Union by your unique culture. Maybe you can introduce some of those, tell us something about it. We can looking forward to when you join the European Union, as, like food or whatever you mean. Thank you.
We will organize culinary event and then we will invite
Food for sure. You have to go to Albania as tourist, and you will prove by yourself how delicious is our food, and I think some of them as a specialties are well known also in the European Union by Albanian restaurants, but except food, it's as I told you, it's our culture, it's our heritage in terms of culture. We have in Albania many monuments from antiquity. We have two protecting cities from UNESCO, which is Berat and Gjirokastra, which are very unique as cities. Our folk is also very unique and very appreciated in Europe, and let's say also the beauty of the country. The beauty of the country. Fortunately, we have sea, because some other countries in the region doesn't have. But and then tourism. Tourism is also a good point of our country and countries and of our economy. So the tourism in Albania is very developed recently. Just from the figures of the last years, we have had something like 30.7 million tourists that visited country, and we are looking now to have also some strategic investment in the country in terms of tourism, and I think tourism is also a very good point that can bring to the European Union some good values, so and vibes also.
You mentioned sea, but I also already discussed with Ambassador Andjić that I visited the Durmitor National Park in Montenegro, which is amazing. If it's a mountain person here like me, so I would encourage you to go there.
Yeah, we are using this motto, Montenegro Wild Beauty, and it is wild beauty because we have still untouched nature in the north and of course seaside. whoever come to Montenegro once, they come back for sure. I'm also sure for Albania. Yeah, there is a lot of nice food and drinks. But what also connects us to your country, to Slovakia, is really history and culture and language. We are not speaking the same language, but still we have the same roots, and we can. And I think also mentality. We can understand each other very well. So we will bring something new, but something also old, maybe that you would find familiar.
If I may add, if you don't mind, I will add a very, very important thing. First and foremost, these countries will bring fantastic open-minded people to the European Union. This is very important. I've been repeatedly both Albania and Montenegro, beautiful countries, but first and foremost I met wonderful people there, which are very pro-European, and we need these countries also because of this fact to have them in EU 29 before 29.
Thank you. I guess our time is over, so thank you all of you for being here. Thank you for your questions. Let me thank you one more time, Ambassador Andjić, Ambassador Montenegro, Ambassador Hanku, and Mr. Klus.
We are very happy to have today this opportunity, and thank you very much, the team of Slovak and Balkan, you as moderator, and thank you for our let's say participants here, which are young generation, and let's give us hope that the young generation will see the European Union and also Balkan region inside the European Union as a value.
Thank you for saying that.
And at the same time, I wanted to add and to thank very much the let's say Slovak institutions. Slovakia has been not only for Albania and Montenegro but for the whole region continuously a big supporter of the integration into the European Union. Thanks Slovakia for all support that you are giving to us, to our dream to join European Union as soon as possible.
Thank you. We are closing this in a positive vibe, so thank you for the positive end of this discussion. And